Hi, I'm Wheeler Winston Dixon, James Ryan Professor of Film Studies at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I'd like to speak this morning a few words on the work of Roger Corman. Roger Corman has 55 films to his credit as a director and more than 385 films as a producer. And although in certain areas of film criticism he's something of a joke, critics in Europe take him seriously, and so do I, because his early films really speak to an urgency in American society in the 1950s and are part of the rupture of values that the late 1950s represented with the advent of rock and roll, rhythm and blues, Elvis Presley, and basically the ascendancy of pop culture. He worked mostly for a company called American International Pictures for most of his most influential films, and some of these include Teenage Doll, Sorority Girl, Machine Gun Kelly, Rock All Night, Little Shop of Horrors, which he shot in 2 days with Jack Nicholson and Jonathan Hayes. As he went on into the 1960s, he made a series of very stylish Edgar Allan Poe films like The Pit and the Pendulum, Fall of the House of Usher, Tales of Terror. He retired from directing after making a few final films, The St. Valentine's Day Massacre, a great film for 20th Century Fox, and his last film as a director, Von Richthofen and Brown, in 1971, although he made a brief return to the director's chair in 1990 with Frankenstein Unbound. He basically became more active as a producer with his own company, New World Films, and later Concord Films, and also, unlikely, many people thought, a champion of foreign filmmakers importing things like Amarcord by Federico Fellini, and also furnishing the financing for Ingmar Bergman's Cries and Whispers when no other Hollywood studio would. Corman also became legendary for working with young actors and directors on their way up. People like James Cameron, Martin Scorsese, Jack Nicholson, Peter Bogdanovich, Monty Hellman, Dennis Hopper, Peter Fonda. Ron Howard is another example. Basically, Roger would give a film to anyone, and as long as they would keep within on time and on budget. Most of his films were 6 days, and they showed it, but at the same time, as he said, if you can work for me, you can work for anyone, and then these people would go on to work for the majors. Roger Corman is a fiercely independent person who just won an Honorary Academy Award for his life's work. His films are always genre pieces, but they always have a message inside. So I recommend that you check out the early films of Roger Corman as a director. His work as a producer, much more problematic. His work as a director, extremely interesting, and tells us a lot about the 1950s and the way that societal mores were changing during this period. I'm Wheeler Winston Dixon, and this is Frame by Frame.